Chris, what's coming up this week?
We have got the second half of the UFO episode Exposed on the Randomiser.
Ross?
Jamie Anderson will be giving us the latest news.
Who?
And we'll be hearing from our wonderful podsterons who've been emailing us at podcast@gerryanderson.com. What more could you want?
The Gerry Anderson Podcast with Jamie Anderson, Richard James and Chris Dale.
Pod 349 of the Gerry Anderson Podcast.
Soon comes round.
It's tantalisingly close to 350, isn't it?
It is. We're not going to do anything special for 350, though, are we?
I hadn't.
What about 365? Because that's one podcast for every day of the year.
Unless you're listening in a leap year.
The leap year lost episode.
This is a conversation I never expected to have at the top of the Gerry Anderson Podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to send apologies on behalf of Jamie Anderson, who can't join us again. And we will be hearing from him a little later on for the Gerry Anderson News. We've also got the second part of your interview with the wonderful author and, may I say, Gerry Anderson aficionado, Bob Ayres. So we look forward to that.
BAFTA award-winning Bob Ayres.
I know. Yes. I did ask him to bring his BAFTA along. Of course, by now we will know if he did or not, because we saw the first part of it.
But right now we don't.
No, we don't.
So we can say, it was great to see it, or he didn't bring it.
Yes, delete as applicable. Now, as you know, our wonderful podcast goes out every Sunday night at 7 o'clock, and people like to comment beneath them on our YouTube channel.
Yes. Well, this first one comes from God Messenger, who says, it would be great to see Christian... This is under pod, was it 345?
That's right.
Second half of the Christian Anhalt interview.
Yes.
It would be great to see Christian as a regular cast in A Space 2099. Screenplay. The nephew of Tony Vedesci, played by Christian.
Yes.
Son of Guido, travelling with a caravan of super swifts, finds the moon abandoned after Operation Exodus and settles there.
Yes.
New adventures begin.
Oh,
Yes.
I can absolutely see that.
Yeah.
I really do think if Big Finish do pursue the whole Space 1999 audio series, I think they should reach out to Christian for sure.
Yes, I think there's quite a few people
that's
they
an
could
easy
do.
win.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Priscilla Brown says, I'm surprised that the reprints of the books and audios didn't sell well. Ah, yes, this is from Jamie's comment. Considering that the books have been out of print for years prior to their re-release, and as far as I know, they're not that easy to find. Obviously, I'm interested in the reprints and audios for Thunderbirds and Scarlet, at least, says Priscilla. Would offering ebook versions for those that missed the original print runs and those who chose to not have a physical library help improve sales? I realise it's a lot of work to reprint these books, but there is value to it, as it helps preserve the series for future fans that may not even be born yet.
Yeah, again, that's very much up to Jamie. If it was up to me, they'd all be in print right now. And,
that's right.
But
you'd have to pay for it.
Well, exactly, yeah, there's financial costs and considerations that I don't know about.
And that rights and so on, issues, things like that.
I don't know if the rights, I mean, we've got, as far as I know, we've got the rights to all of them from Stingray through to at least the Secret Service.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, well, time will tell.
Keep pestering Jamie.
Exactly.
It's him.
Yes.
Not us.
Ross.
Simon Frisby.
Oh, yes.
Frisbee.
Great interview and great podcast. The highlight for me was the look of resignation on Jamie's face as he slowly realised the crushing inevitability of Crossroads to Crime's ongoing revival. Here it is again.
I know. It starts here.
It's headlining Standby for Action 3. It's going to be on 4K Blu-ray.
I mean,
soundtrack.
How many emails do you think we have to get before it actually does appear on Blu-ray?
And I like that it's being sprinkled in every week.
Yes.
So it will just
keep
chipping away.
Just keep wearing him down until he goes insane.
Until we can recreate you clinging onto the side of a car.
Yes.
It's going to happen. Talking of clinging on until we all go insane, let's join Jamie Anderson to see what news he has for us. Over to you, James.
Greetings, Podsterons, from another secret location. Hopefully the gang haven't given it away. I'm somewhere else doing something else exciting, but I've got some news for you. Standby for Action 2, the CD, the album which many of you have been waiting for, is now in stock and shipping. So if you had a pre-order with some other Standby for Action bits and pieces or anything else that included a CD, well, it'll be on its way to you just about now, I would think. It sounds great, and I've already seen some fantastic comments from people who have already enjoyed listening to it. So, Standby for Action 2. This Thursday, I'm very excited about this Thursday. We've got something pretty special to talk about. Many of you have been asking for this thing for a very long time, and it has taken an awful lot of work by the whole team to make it happen. So, I'm going to say stand by for action again. Stand by for some more action this coming Thursday, the 20th of February. I think you're going to be quite pleased about what we're talking about. Moving on to less secret things. The Space 1999 Palette Eagle is available for pre-order now, and it went a bit crazy on launch day. It's done extremely well. People are very excited about it. I mean, how could you not be when you get your little radiation canisters? It looks great, and I'm very pleased to say it's a very short pre-order window. As in, if you get it by Monday, you get it at the discounted price. And then it's only a few weeks wait until it arrives. The Palette Eagles are on the water right now, on their way over, so you really won't have to wait very long at all for the palette. The palette is the 5th in our collection of 6 Eagles, and yeah, it's rather lovely. So I hope you get yours very soon. Something else that's rather lovely, the retro action figures that were originally Big Chief and then moved on to Master Replicas, and many of you have waited very patiently for. Well, there are more coming. Round 2 has been announced. I think I mentioned it last week, and it should be available to pre-order from the store very, very soon. These are obviously all at gerryanderson.com. A couple more weeks and I shall be back in the studio with the lads, which I'm already looking forward to, and I'll stop my ridiculous globe-trotting. But I'm missing you all very much. But that was the end of this week's Gerry Anderson News.
Thank you to our roving reporter, Jamie Anderson.
Yes.
Nice to have him here in spirit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm quite enjoying having young Ross here.
Are you?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, aren't you?
Takes all sorts. Now, talking of enjoying having people here,
Yes.
I understand that you had Bob Ayres sitting in that very seat.
I did, yes, which meant that I was sitting in one of those seats.
Shall we see how you got on for the second part of your interview?
I think we should, yes.
Over to you. Not you.
Me?
No, you.
Him, me there.
Yeah.
That me.
Yeah.
Okay. So, welcome back to the Gerry Anderson podcast. Bob
Thank you very
Ayres.
much. Good to be here again,
Thanks
Chris.
for coming back. Now, Project Orca is obviously an integral part of this whole Stingray Deadly Uprising thing that we've been working on.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to create a complete narrative within a larger narrative, especially one near the end of the overall story, essentially? Are there challenges there? Because it's a jigsaw with a lot of moving parts.
It wasn't too bad. So the process started with a sort of 150-word paragraph, basically saying this is what's got to happen in your part of the story. Then I was given the outline of your book, so I knew what happened in yours roughly, and then I was given the scripts for the comics
Yeah.
that were being done as well. I didn't see any artwork until almost I'd finished Project Orca, but I was aware of what was going to happen because I had the scripts. So I knew what was going to happen, and I knew where mine had to end up, so I knew what the end point of mine had to be. And that kind of gave me a structure to work with. So I knew where I had to start and I knew where I had to finish. I knew roughly what had to happen in the middle. And that kind of was very helpful in a way, because having that structure meant that I couldn't have, well, what about this? What about that? What about the other? Well, no, because I had to do this, that, and the other, to do A to B to C. So that was really helpful in the planning of it. There were a couple of, so there was a bit of to and fro over the design of the Orca itself.
Oh, yes.
Because I had envisaged it entirely differently in my head. I thought of it looking, so I describe it in the book as a big brute of a boat, and wanted it to look a bit more ugly. Really wanted it to look like kind of a weapon of war. Where actually it looks quite sleek, and it's a brilliant design. But so Chris Thompson, there's a bit of to and fro with Chris Thompson. He's basically saying, "No, this is what it looks like. We've already designed it." So I went, "Oh, okay, right. So I'll just change that description in my book. It's fine." And then there was also the technical manual was being written at the same time as well. And I had described some things in Marineville, and AC got back to me to say, actually, no, we've said this in the technical menu, so can you change that? So that was fine. And then you introduced, can we say what the romance was in
Absolutely, yes.
So you introduced some romance between Sarah Coral and Lieutenant Fisher,
Yes,
or Lieutenant Fisher, Sorrel in.
It wasn't planned. It just, they kept having scenes together. And I thought, it'd be nice for both of them to sort of form a relationship.
Yeah.
And
so AC said, well, this has kind of happened in Chris's novel.
He's a hopeless romantic. What can you do? Yes.
Can you include it in yours? So yes, so that, but that was nice because again, it gave me So there's a scene where Sarah is basically doing a security check on some people, and that was what she did in the original scene in my outline. But I could. It was kind of a nice moment in the end, because I had Sarah and John Fisher. John kind of accompanies her to the room to be alone with her while she's doing these security checks to get away from a party, and it was kind of an excuse to keep them together and have something to talk about while she's waiting for these security checks to happen on the computer. So it was nice. It was a nice way of adding some colour to the to an otherwise fairly pedestrian scene. Yeah,
and it is nice to add new elements to these old existing characters.
Yeah.
And speaking of new elements, we have obviously Sarah Coral,
Yes.
but you also have this entire the crew of the Orca submarine.
Yeah. What I wanted was, so it came from the story. So I don't know how much of this is going to be a spoiler, but basically the crew of the Orca are recruited from WSP stations all across the world.
Yeah.
And there had to be people that, for plot reasons, that Washington hadn't necessarily met, and definitely people in Marineville had never met before. So they had to come from far-flung places. So I thought, well, let's have an international crew. So I've got one from Africa, I've got one from India, I've got one from Australia, one from China.
Yes. There's something Wayne has great fun doing in the audiobook, of
Yes,
course.
Wayne's brilliant, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
So, but then they're not all what they seem
Yes.
anyway. So,
Well, you mentioned adding new elements to old shows. We're going to take a look now at a clip from. It's got the word "new" in the title. It is by now an old show anyway.
Yeah.
But a series that you would particularly like to highlight.
yeah.
Let's take a look at this.
You're not going anywhere, Paul.
Wrong again, Adam.
Yes, the first episode of New Captain Scarlet.
Yeah.
So-
So by the time this came out, I was in my 30s, so I wasn't kind of the target audience, but I watched it anyway because it was Gerry Anderson.
Yeah,
and it was
and
new
it was
Gerry
Captain
Anderson.
Scarlet, which
and
you
it was
watched
Captain Scarlet.
back in the day.
And I sat down to watch this first episode, and that scene in particular, I just thought, well, they're really not messing around with this.
Yeah.
This is full-on action, a full-on feature film spectacle in 20 minutes. Just really, really impressive. I know it hasn't got kind of the charm of the old puppets and that kind of stuff, but I think it's kind of new puppets. It's kind of the mocap and everything they used was pretty much state of the art at the time, and I think it still holds up pretty well.
And a fight like that you couldn't have done in the original show
precisely.
anyway.
So the original Captain Scarlet, they're all standing very straight and talking to each other. So we never get a kind of a full-on action scene like that. If you wanted a full-on action scene in original Captain Scarlet, it had to be in vehicles because the vehicles move and crash and blow things up. But here we've got Captain Blue and Captain Scarlet fighting, and then when he goes and stands against that door, you think, why are they all lying down? Why are they holding onto stuff? And then he blows out the door.
Yeah.
And you don't see that he's got the parachute on his back, and so you think, what's going to happen? So it's full on.
And eventually he does
stuff.
the sort of Roger Moore at the beginning spiral up. I mean, the parachute opens and it's a spectrum
Spectrum.
rainbow. Yeah.
Superb.
I think it's the show is 20 years old this month at some point,
Can't
which
believe
is
that.
amazing to think of. Time has gone so quick.
As well, I think possibly some of it looks a little creaky, but I think it stands up very, very well. And the writing is superb. And it's mainly by Phil Ford.
Yeah.
That's mainly why I took an interest in it, because I thought, how is he doing this? It's 20. They're really short episodes. They're only about 20 minutes each once you take the titles off. But you've got these massive world-shaking events, feature film type events happening, and all in 20 minutes. It's really clever writing.
And it's not just spectacular ideas on their own. It's ideas that go back to the original concept of that whole Scarlet world and kind of blow sections of it just wide open in terms of what could be told with these characters.
Yes.
It's quite impressive.
The only thing I think it's missing is a sort of the eccentric kind of character like Brains or like Parker.
Yes.
I kind of think it needs.
There's one or two guest characters in there, like the two, is it sort of hick farmers who find Scarlet dead in a swamp and they start burying him and he comes back to life. Yes.
But I kind of always felt there needed to be on the staff of Spectrum, someone that for the kind of geeky kids like me to identify with. There needed to be a Captain Orange who was always getting things wrong or something.
Oh yes,
always blowing Scarlet up. Oh, I've done it again. He's gonna be mad at me.
Well, still time. There's we could start doing a new Captain Scarlet and So regarding the rest of your writing, you've written for, as you said, these educational things. You've written for Big Finish. What else have you done? Because I hear you've got a little BAFTA at home. What was that for?
In fact, I'm going to blow my own trumpet here. I actually have 3 BAFTAs at home.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So
go for it.
I eventually I joined CWC not to run TrueTube. I eventually ended up running TrueTube. So from 2016 to 2020, had a very small team and a very small budget. But we entered a couple of films to the children's BAFTAs because they had a learning category back in those days. So we thought, well, that's us. We'll enter one to that. But we'd also made for the first time a short drama, 10-minute drama. So we thought, well, we'll enter that as well. Yeah. Might as well. We're entering the other one. So that was in the drama category, and this other film was in the learning category. And they both got nominated. Oh. So we thought, wow, that was prize enough. So amazing, absolutely fantastic. So we thought, well, we're going to have to go to the awards ceremony. So we went to the awards ceremony. I bought a velvet jacket and everything. Went along. And then the learning category came up, didn't win that. And so we thought, well, that's it then. We're not going to win the drama one. And then went, and the BAFTA goes to... And it was our film called Refugee. And we were just kind of couldn't believe it. No. And utterly surreal. The whole thing was utterly surreal. But that's kind of kicked off a kind of run. We over between 2016 and 2020, when they stopped doing the children's BAFTAs because of the pandemic, we got 20 nominations in that time. Ooh. And won 7. Wow. And I personally have 3. So it was astonishing, really. We were making very short films on a very small, tiny budget with a very small team. And somehow we were getting all this success. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is, mate. It's incredible, actually. I look back on it and think, did that actually happen? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so I peaked in my life, I think.
Oh, wow. Well, speaking of amazing...
that was the peak. This is the peak, obviously.
Yeah.
Project Talker is the peak. Yeah.
Well, I was actually about to suggest we dig into our listeners' email lunchbox here.
Right, we'll do so.
See what else we can...
Right. We'll grab a handful more.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, this is from Paul Hyder, I think. Mm-hmm. Hello, Paul. Hi, Bob. What do you think makes sci-fi special compared to other genres? Ooh. What makes sci-fi special? I think it's partly because sci-fi is a way of telling stories, say an allegory or a story with a point, without coming across too didactic. I think you can sort of go anywhere and do anything, and you can have big good versus evil stories without it being too finger wagging. I think so. It's a useful way of telling those kind of stories. But also, sci-fi is just a brilliant way of exercising the imagination. What if? What if this? What if that? You can do anything with sci-fi. You can go anywhere, and just have fun. Really, it's fun. I think that's the main thing about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's worlds and characters that you wouldn't get. Say a character like Marina would not be in a soap opera, let's say. Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's fun. I think that's the answer to that one. Right. Steve with a double E, is that correct? Steve Bushell. Hi, Bob. You must be very proud of your BAFTA ornament. How do you know when the story is finished? Oh, I think that's. Oh, right. Sorry, they're unconnected. Okay. I am very proud of my BAFTA. Yes, thank you very much. How do you know when the story is finished? For me, it's when the deadline arrives.
Yes.
Because otherwise you just keep fiddling with it. So you've got. It's one of the things that people say about writing. Writing is rewriting. So you come up. So I write what I call a draft zero. I write a draft which no one is going to see. It's just for me.
Yeah.
It's a way of getting stuff down on the page. Might not be particularly good, but it gets me part of the way there.
Yeah.
And I've got something to work with. Then you go back over it and kind of tweak things to make it better, or you come back to and go, oh, actually, that's quite good. So that stays in. But there's a lot of tweaking going on, and I'll keep on tweaking forever. So I need a bit deadline. Otherwise, otherwise the story's never finished. Yeah. I mean, even I've been listening to Wayne Forrester reading Project Orca, and I had to stop because I kept thinking, oh no, I could have changed that, I could have done that better. I could have.
I've been the same with mine.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's I mean, Wayne is brilliant. He's absolutely fantastic, but it was quite painful for me to listen to it. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I had to stop because I thought.
Yeah, there are sometimes where things sound better on the page in your head than they do actually. Sort of being spoken.
That's another good writing advice, I think. Reading things out loud is so important, because what sounds, as you say, what sounds good in your head doesn't always sound good on when other people are reading it. When it's read out loud. Emily Davis, hello Emily. Did you grow up watching Anderson shows? Well, as I sort of answered this question last week. Yes, I did, but I was dependent very much on whatever ITV wanted to repeat. So the first show I ever watched on first broadcast was Space 1999, but everything else was repeats. So I remember repeats of Thunderbirds especially.
So you're in the southern region in those days,
so I was
were you?
southern, yeah. And we couldn't always get ITV when I was very young. We had this ancient, when it was ancient, even when I was young, this ancient black and white telly that actually had a dial for tuning it in. It was like safe cracking. You had to kind of turn this dial. And we could get BBC One really easily, BBC Two really easily, but then where's ITV? You sort of, and then sometimes you get a fuzzy picture of, Magpie. Sorry, you won't know what Magpie was. It was ITV's alternative to Blue Peter. You think, what's that? Oh, it's Magpie. So you sometimes get ITV, but the reception got better. So yes, it was mainly Thunderbirds, and then I say Captain Scarlet, bit of Joe 90. And then Space 1999 when that came along, Right.
That covers it.
Ray Watson, hello Ray. Hello Bob. Hello Ray. How different did you find writing a novel to writing Big Finish? Oh, that's a good question. And what is your favourite scene or line from Project Orca, the bit that you're really pleased with?
Or is it going to be something X20 related?
It is
He's
X20
quite prominent
related.
in your story, yes.
So how's it different writing a novel to writing Big Finish? It was a bit of a mental change of gear, actually. So writing audio drama for Big Finish, when I started writing Project Orca, because I'd just come off writing an audio script, writing audio scripts are very dialogue heavy because the actors have got to basically convey to the audience what's going on in what they're saying to each other. And suddenly writing a Project Orca, I thought, I can actually describe things. I can actually tell the audience what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't have to have two people telling each other what's going on. I can just basically describe what the scene is and do it that way. So it was, as I say, it was a mental change of gear. I kept thinking to myself, no, I can do this, I can do that. I don't have to do it the same way. And my favourite scene from Project Orca is probably there's a scene about a quarter of the way in where X20 is putting on a variety of different disguises.
Is this trying to fool
to try and
Sarah?
get into
Yes,
to try and get
I
into
love that scene,
Marineville.
yes.
So in my story, Sarah has completely shut down security. The only way in and out of Marineville is now checkpoint 1, so everybody's got to come through there. So Extra Zero tries on a variety of disguises to try and get in, and every single one fails, and every single one they know, is that a wig? Everybody notices that he's wearing a wig. And it ends up with him trying to be a singing telegram to bring Sarah Coral a message from her friends, and she goes, "Well, go on then." So he has to sing the song to Sarah. Yeah, I'm not going to do it now.
It's a scene I can absolutely see on the TV show.
Well, that was what
It's
I tried to do. I was
true
trying
the
to
show.
write an extended episode of the show.
Yeah.
So I put in some of the set pieces like Stingray's launch, Marineville going to battle stations, the transformation of X20's drawing room into the kind of communication centre. So I was kind of trying to put those elements in because I wanted people to feel like they were watching Stingray. Yeah.
And it's things like that. You've seen them a million times in like at least half the episodes of the show, but now you get to put your own spin and your own interpretation and other things that are going on around that time. It's an odd experience.
It's an odd experience
to be doing something so familiar, but do it your way.
Yeah. So when I did the Marineville going to battle stations, I did it from Troy's point of view because usually he's in Stingray, going out in Stingray to confront Titan. But in this part of the story, Stingray's in dry dock, so he's actually in the control centre, in the control tower when battle stations is called. So he gets to see it all happening. So it's kind of described from his point of view because he doesn't normally get to see this. So that was fun. Button Moon Hannah, hello. Hi Bob, after doing Stingray, would you like to write another novel from another Anderson show? Yes. If yes, and it is a yes, which one would you like to do? Well, I'm available for work, and so if Anderson would like me to write anything, basically, I'm well up on Thunderbirds, Captain Scarlet, UFO would be good.
Yeah, it was a big anniversary year for Thunderbirds and 1999 this year.
But yeah, no, it's such a rich. They're all such rich universes to get involved with, and I'd be happy to write any of those. Really.
There's such it's just this wonderful toy box. Each show is a wonderful toy box.
Yes,
full of things just sort of gathering dust for the last few decades, and it's great to take them out and send them off on new adventures.
Yeah. Well, I often think. I mean, they did a reboot of Thunderbirds fairly recently, but I often think, why aren't people doing Thunderbirds now, or why aren't people doing Captain Scarlet now? They're such great ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they probably do Joe 90 anymore.
Well, Joe 90 hasn't had a remake at all. So
safeguarding issues. I mean,
wow, that's fine. He's
putting a kid through all that now.
Right,
I'm not sure he can do that. But yeah, they're all such great ideas, and why not do them again? This is from Simpsons Clips 24. Okay. Hi Bob, did writing Project Orca involve many hours of watching Stingray all the way through? And if so, what was your favourite episode? I did watch Stingray again all the way through. I think I said last week. I had seen Stingray back in the 90s when it was repeated then. I needed a refresher course, so I did watch it all the way through. And my favourite episodes... That's a difficult one. I think I like the very first episode because it kind of sets out the store very effectively. And then I think it's a two-parter with Plant of Doom.
Yeah.
And then I discovered that actually Plant of Doom was originally broadcast about two-thirds through the run.
It's broadcast something like episode 34 or 35.
So almost right to the end then.
Totally
you think, hang on, why is everyone suddenly turning against Marina?
Yeah.
But it makes total sense if it's the second episode, which is when it was made in production order, I believe. So it makes sense that they'd be suspicious of Marina at that point, but not when they'd been friends with her for ages.
No.
So I like those two episodes. I like Stand By for Action. I think it's great.
Oh yes.
what's it called? Rescue from the Skies, the one that starts with the Kobayashi Maru scene at the beginning.
Yeah,
I think
it's
that's
a very
great.
close parallel, that one.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
That's a good selection right
Yeah.
there, yes. Well, speaking of good selections, you provided us with not one, but two moments of nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
In terms of scary moments. So let's have a look at the first of these is from Captain Scarlet.
I have nothing to fear while I'm in the hands of the Spectrum organization.
Creepy.
I was saying, Captain Brown, I have no worry while your organization is looking after me.
It's when the
Captain Brown?
Well, it's the music.
Captain Brown,
It's the music
are
as
you
well.
all right?
And then
but it's this bit. Yeah. Oh God,
Yeah.
what's happening?
kids at the time would not have seen anything like that.
No.
That shot in
I mean,
particular is just...
That's pretty
It's
close
brutal.
to the knuckle now.
Yeah.
I think just brilliant though. I mean, that really stuck in my memory for obvious reasons because
Yes.
it's so
It's
scary.
It's weird to start with.
yes, because it's the music and why is Captain Brown not saying anything?
Yeah.
He's just sitting there, and then the smoke curling up from his collar
Yeah.
is amazing.
The fact that the puppet is absolutely stiff.
Yeah.
With a slightly odd expression. Yeah.
And then in my
it's-
memory, the way I remembered it was his head explodes.
Yes. Well, there is a
but
shot
I
later
wasn't
in the
ex-
episode where they watch the security footage back,
Yeah,
and
and
the
it
whole
comes-
body just blows to pieces,
blows
comes out of
apart.
his chest. Yes, the head flies out of shot,
Yes.
and there's a wonderful behind-the-scenes photo, before and after. Before them in the chair, and after is just this pile of rags and puppet bits.
Yeah.
But even today, it's just like, how did they get away
How
with
to
that?
get away with it? And is it Noose of Ice? I think where someone gets electrocuted.
Yes, yeah.
and they're basically juddering away
Yeah,
and being
and screaming.
executed. Screaming.
Same puppet, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yes, oddly enough.
Poor
Yeah.
guy didn't have any luck, did he?
But with Mary Whitehouse constantly going after Doctor Who in the early 70s,
Yeah.
it's amazing that stuff like that,
Well, I suppose
again,
it's
because
'cause
they're
it's
puppets,
puppets, yeah.
somehow
But-
that's okay.
yeah. But it's
Very-
it's
very
I think
strange.
it's partly what made Captain Scarlet compelling. I think it was
Yeah.
because it could be quite violent and
Yeah.
and people did die. Yeah.
And that's something that amazingly new Captain Scarlet retained.
Yeah. New Captain Scarlet. I mean, there's things like Homecoming, where Lieutenant Green's dad apparently returns from a space mission. He's been in suspended animation for ages. That goes full on horror. That does. Yeah. And Touch of the Reaper.
Touch of the Reaper, the
Full on horror.
blood.
Yeah.
I mean, even there are moments you think, okay, there's nothing scary or extreme in this episode, and then there's one where Captain Black takes out a gun and just shoots a woman in the face at point blank range. You think, oh, hang on,
Yeah.
okay, calm down.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, at the time, it's amazing that they got away with that. We
Yeah.
certainly wouldn't get away with it now. Speaking of amazing to get away with at the time, we have one more clip.
Yeah.
This is from a few years later. We're into live action territory here
Right.
with the UFO.
Now that
Yeah.
gave me nightmares. That was so scary. I after that, seeing that, and I can't remember how old I was. I would have been, I don't know, 5 or 6, I would guess. I went to my dad and I said, "Dad, are UFOs real?" And Dad didn't know the context of my question.
right.
He didn't know I've just seen something
See where
really
this is going.
scary in a program called UFO. And I was expecting him to say, no, they're fine. Of course they're not real. Well, actually, what he said was, I don't know. And that really scared me because I thought, well, that could happen to me then.
Yeah.
I mean, the context of that was that my dad actually saw a UFO once, or thinks he might have seen a UFO. So my dad was a graphic designer, and he worked in the 70s for IPC magazines, who were in King's Reach Tower, which is on the South Bank. At the time, I think it was one of the tallest buildings in London. It had these amazing views over the London skyline. And he looked up from work one day and saw this bright, really bright, magnesium bright ball of light flashing across the London skyline. And he sat there thinking, what on earth was that? And it looked like the afterburner of a jet, but it was going really, really fast. And these were Cold War days, of course. So he thought, well, maybe I should report that to someone. So he rang the police, expecting to be treated as a, UFO nut.
Yeah.
But they put him through to someone at the Ministry of Defence who took him very, very seriously.
Wow.
And took down, his statement.
So in your eyes, he was something of an expert in this field.
He never. Well, no. I mean, yes. I mean, I thought so. For Dad to say, actually, that might be happening. There might be people out there who are going to stick a helmet on your head and fill it with water.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But regardless of the alien side of it, it's drowning as well, which is extremely relatable to everybody.
Yeah. Totally.
That's a moment that a lot of people have remembered as being from relatively.
The whole episode is quite unsettling. It's a very odd episode. Yeah.
But that moment in particular is stuck in the memories of a lot of people. Well, we're coming to the end of our time now, but what projects have you got currently on the go? Is there anything you can tease us about?
Well, so my day job is I'm still working part-time for CTBC. We're doing some stuff for, I think it'd be right to say, we're doing some stuff for BBC Bite Size at the moment for... They're both kind of transition for kids going from primary school into secondary school, and for younger kids going from nursery school into primary school. So we're doing some films saying it's okay, you're going to be fine. And then the rest of the time, I am still doing freelance stuff. I have just literally on Friday handed in the first draft of a story about another much-loved character. That I probably shouldn't mention at this
Torchy
stage.
the Battery Boy.
Not Torchy the Battery Boy. Definitely not Torchy the Battery Boy. But it's not an Anderson show, so I shouldn't probably say anything. But that's on the boil.
Oh, nice.
And if that goes well, hopefully there'll be more there.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And of course, hopefully, fingers crossed, you would love to do some more Anderson.
Love to do some more Anderson stuff.
Yes.
I would love to do some more. Yeah, as I say, available for work. Yeah.
Get him in. He's good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bob Ayres, thank you very much. Lovely to talk to you.
Chris Dale, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks to Bob Ayres.
Yes,
for
lovely
coming
Bob.
all that way to Slough to join
BAFTA
us.
Bob, as we
Really
call
good.
him.
Did we call him that?
What we do now?
We
yes.
did mention earlier that also in his honour, perhaps we should be called the Gerry Anderson Podcast.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
great.
Yeah.
The podcast sounds cool, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Next
So
week.
you can, of course, still order signed copies of Project Orca from the Gerry Anderson
Yes,
store.
indeed.
You can also get the audiobook version as read by the lovely Wayne Forrester. But look at that. You see
Oh.
that? It's actually signed
There
by
it is.
him.
Yeah,
Yes.
nice.
So,
Do let us know. I wonder how many of you also have the Titanic and Stratagem as well as Project
it's
Orca.
not as good as Project Orca.
Come on, really?
No.
Do let us know if you've read either of those novels or even both, and let us know what you think of the ongoing Stingray saga.
Yes.
Who would have thought 60 years later we'd have ongoing Stingray sagas?
Indeed, yes.
Extraordinary. It's a
Yes,
great
we're,
year.
we're coming to the end now
Yeah.
of Deadly Uprising. I believe with the second volume of the comic anthology out, we now just have a couple of Marine Minutes left to be uploaded. And then that's it.
Wow.
Deadly Uprising is done.
Yes.
And you can enjoy the whole saga from...
And what is the finale? Is the finale in the comic anthology, or is it told? Is there a big?
The finale is in the comic anthology,
Okay.
but I think because the comic anthology is one book, the 2 Marine Minutes kind of slot somewhere
see.
inside those pages. But being YouTube videos, we can't put them in the book.
Gotcha.
But I think that's where it... I mean, I just
Nice.
worked on the thing. I don't know what...
Yeah, you don't. You just do it.
You did the start of
I
the
just did
story.
my bit. It's fine. Yeah, I let everyone else. Yeah.
Fair enough. It's about that time of the podcast that we give airspace and airtime to our wonderful viewers and listeners.
Airspace on our Bob Ayres podcast. Airspace. I see what you did there.
It's the voice of the Podsterons.
This is the voice of the Podsterons.
Hi all, says Keith Thomas. Hi Keith.
Hi, Keith Thomas. Hi.
Now he said, I spotted this in this week's edition of Classic Car Weekly magazine. Take a look at this. It's a picture of a UFO mini-moke designed by Derek Medding circa 1968. He says, I recall an article when it was originally recovered from Tenerife, so it's fantastic to see it rebuilt and looking so good 8 years later. It does look great, doesn't it? Yeah. Absolutely sure that it'll be of interest. I wonder how much it'll fetch and who will buy it. I hope it finds a home with one of us and a fan.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could have it as the official podcast vehicle?
That would be
when we need to go
roving around
Slough.
Yes.
For our Crossroads to Crime trip.
I mean,
or when we go down the pub or something.
Let's just scrub the Andacruise. This sounds so much better. I mean, we do have thousands upon thousands of viewers and listeners. If they all gave a couple of quid, maybe we should set up a crowdfunding page. Buy the mini moke for the podcast.
Keep it in the loading bay out the back of the hotel.
Ross, one for you.
Yes, okay. Hello, Jamie, Richard, Chris, and all the backstage crew. Getting recognition. Thank you. Yeah. Is there any chance of you producing more Space 1999 shirts for the shop, please? I've got the one with the orangey red sleeve, and I've also got the purple sleeved one. But the purple, my favourite, is cursed.
What?
Every time I wear it, it gets splashed with food, drink, oil, etc. Please help me replace it. My shirt is haunted.
Help, my shirt is haunted. Great.
Gosh.
Nice.
Finally, a little while ago, Chris mentioned a Captain Scarlet compilation movie which ends with the Mysterons finally ceasing their hostilities with Earth and returning to space.
Right.
Could you please remind me of the movie's name, please?
It's, now ready for this? This is a complicated title.
Yes.
It's Captain Scarlet versus the Mysterons.
It is quite complicated.
It is a very complicated title if you only know Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons.
I see. Okay. And is that available anywhere? Or
on all good VHS categories on eBay listings everywhere. Yes, at the moment it's not available on any sort of digital. It's just maybe one day.
Yeah, interesting.
But at the moment it is just VHS.
Nice.
Relic.
Great. And that's from Alex in Suffolk.
Yes.
Yes, good.
Thank you, Alex.
And over to you, Chris, for our last email.
For our last one, it begins, hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
I don't know when you'll receive this. It's 10:15 on what date is it?
It's the 5th of February.
Okay, that's when we're receiving it. But I'm writing this email after listening to Pod 346, so it's near the end of January.
Okay, not so long ago. That's all right.
Yeah.
Already 2025 is off to a good start. I love the new look of the website. Yes, that was recently redesigned. Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
And the code breaking system really does help. That was a series of special offers that were running for a few days. Yes.
I saw that.
Without it, I would have had to wait till February to order the Corgi Thunderbirds machines. I look forward to seeing what you've got planned this year. I think it would be nice if you could do a Beyond Anderson video for David Graham, as this year would have been his 100th birthday. So Beyond Anderson is a series that I used to do for the YouTube channel.
Yes. You say used to do,
well,
so that
I haven't
means...
done any for a long time. I think the last one was Jeremy Wilkin. Again, it's just things like this that kind of got in the way of doing YouTube videos, unfortunately, because I would like to do more. David is obviously one of the greats.
They were very good, very enjoyable as well.
Well, thank you. Yes, I mean, I did always consider doing David's while he was still alive, but there was a part of me that thought he would sort of like, oh no,
He pulled a bit of that,
I'm not that important. But yeah, he was important.
Yes.
One last question. Please, can you explain or try to find out why streaming websites upload episodes of Anderson shows in the wrong order, whereas on DVD they're in the correct order? Now, this is in reference to things like ITVX and BritBox and other international platforms. Instead of using what we might consider the correct order, which is the order more or less in which they were made, they use the order in which they were shown first on British television, which kind of is basically show the first episode and then throw the rest of them up in the air and see where they land.
That's right.
So you get little discrepancies through the show. Nothing major, but it's things like hairstyles changing and clothes changing.
Characters dropping in and out.
I think in Stingray, Marina throws a party in a house that she doesn't yet have and things like that.
Well, maybe that's when she decides to buy it.
Yeah.
That's such a nice time. I'm going to buy the house.
Into this house.
Exactly.
I mean, really, it's the people, the ITVX and so on, who put these up on the streaming services. For them, there's no reason to believe that the broadcast order is not the correct order. Nobody outside of us really looks at it that closely. So
that's true.
Most shows go out in broadcast order. The fact that these shows don't always make much sense in that order. no one in authority is scrutinising them that closely, unfortunately.
Yeah, and most viewers are casual viewers, let's face it, aren't
yes,
they?
Yeah. So it would be nice to address that, because on DVD and Blu-ray they are mostly in production order, but it's not something we have any control over. It's one of those things, unfortunately.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But thank you for your email. Thank you all.
That was Mark Simpson Wedge, by the way.
Thank you all, including Mark, for your emails. Keep them coming in because we'd like to read some more out next week, wouldn't we, Ross?
That'd be great.
What's the email address again?
podcast@gerryanderson.com.
He's very good, boy,
He's
isn't he?
settling in, isn't he?
I think we could be looking at a potential long-term replacement here.
Now, I believe that last week Bob Ayres pressed the button for the randomiser and showed us part 1 of Exposed from UFO, which means this week we get to watch part 2.
Lucky us.
Specs on.
Last time on the randomiser.
You ejected just in time. Unidentified flying object.
Just process that film!
Good to see that line again.
Oh, yes.
And the film are with a military investigation unit.
Foster wants a hearing. He knows what he saw and he's sticking to it. Wasn't the co-pilot killed? Yeah. So whatever he says is not corroborated.
Tell me all about it. What did you see from that cockpit?
An extraterrestrial spacecraft.
Round the film, sorry.
I'm sure he says extraterrestrial.
Extraterrestrial. Yes. I was just admiring the shape of his teacup there. It's
right.
Quite
fun.
What do you think?
Why did you murder my brother?
And now the conclusion.
Tense much?
Yes, just a bit.
A close-up of a concrete building. Nice.
Murder your brother, you said. I love that in old shows like this when they go into the advert breaks.
Killing my brother.
So Jean Marsh is the brother of Matt Zimmerman.
I think in fact she's the sister of Matt Zimmerman.
Yes, but if it were him
Don't
sitting
try and
there-
get out of it.
Yeah, I'm not going to get out of it. No, I petard and all that, yes.
You know, as long ago as 1968, the authorities issued a report officially denying the existence of UFOs.
That was a long time ago when the show was made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, 12 years. No.
Why deny?
Sorry.
12
No, it's
weeks,
1980
12 weeks,
in the story. It's
Yeah.
19
But, far-flung future that was
Let's say
1980.
the authorities
Yes.
had proof, indisputable proof that UFOs had come to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
What will be the result if it leaked out?
Panic.
Mass hysteria,
Yeah.
terror, a breakdown of authority. So, they issue a report.
It's interesting that UFO takes that approach, and Doctor Who over on the other channel was very much, no one really cares. It's, it's a minor inconvenience.
Yeah.
You know.
2 years later,
Shop window dummies coming to life, killing people.
Yeah.
But this is a well-worn path, isn't it? This theme of, denial of UFOs. I mean,
Yes.
obviously, the X-Files, and there was something called Project Blue Book, I think, a series in the 80s about UFO sightings and debunking them.
There was a series called Project UFO in the 70s as well.
Yes.
But this is probably the earliest, one of the earliest mainstream dramas to go down the sort of conspiracy theory route on this.
Your brother had a camera. Did they find it?
I suppose UFOs were all the rage at this when the show was made. The sightings and very much in the zeitgeist.
Well, there's that episode where they got the actual UFO expert on Dr. Stranges, who said that he was friends with an alien, was it Thor or something.
That's
Thor
right.
alien.
Really?
Yeah.
He'd been abducted or something like that.
And it turned out he was a bit of a charlatan.
Never.
Yes.
I've got nothing to lose.
Where are you going?
See you tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Where and when, I don't know. You stay put. Wow. Her costume there actually reminds me kind of what Straker was wearing at the start of the episode. It's the same shades of blue.
Foreshadowing.
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 Yes, clever.
Torch isn't doing much.
No.
It's pretty light enough without the torch, to be honest.
Oh, in fact, you can see a...
If your torch isn't doing much, you need torchy.
But if it's light enough to see the torch, then it's light enough, isn't it?
So he's broken into his boss's office at night.
And he's looking for the camera.
Looking for that camera, yes.
Is it behind the picture?
No. We're going to check
Is that the
all
first
of the
place you'd look?
pictures. Well... Oh, there's another picture. Oh.
Oh.
We're not going to check that.
glasses. Now, the combination. It must be written here somewhere.
Let's check behind the pictures on the other side of the room.
Let's see now.
Oh, here it is. It's just written right here.
On a piece of paper.
I thought you might do that thing of like getting a bit of cigar ash out of the ashtray, smearing it across the pad, and you can see the indentation
That's
of
right,
what was written
yes.
on there.
Footsteps.
Security guard. No one can see me if I crouch.
Oh!
Uh-oh.
Wrong key.
Wow. Oh, it's close.
Oh, just have a sit down.
Yeah.
They took the trouble to lock the door, but not the window.
No. Maybe it's a warm night.
No, maybe. Oh! Filing cabinets! Yes!
And will it be under F for Foster?
Yeah, there's actually no locking mechanism on the top of that drawer. He was faking that.
States. Office.
Safe.
Planning. I thought that said flashing then.
There's a safe. Hilarious. Oh, I see. It's keys, not a combination.
Kofax, you've got a mind like a steel trap.
Luckily. That's a bit of a silly place to leave a key, isn't it, for a safe? In a filing cabinet marked safe.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, really, actually, when you think about it. But
Almost
never
as
mind.
if it might have been planned.
Really?
Of course,
Maybe.
yes, that's true, yes.
It's just too easy.
Yes.
Oh?
Straker.
Oh, isn't that played by Ed Bishop?
It's his spec script he was writing at home and was going to send in.
Yeah.
Trouble? Paul Forster broke into Kofax's office.
Yeah, we know. That was a very funny scene, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just telling us what we've just
established
seen.
that some time had passed, yeah.
Maybe.
I'm wondering also if any of these books are actually real.
Are you looking for yours up there, are you?
Oh, yes, that'd be nice, yes. Maybe a couple of yours, yeah. I noticed actually on Space Precinct, I was looking at the now you can see them on the Blu-ray, you can see the books in the Brogan household, and there's like Len Dayton, there's a collection of Ian Fleming.
Oh, wonderful, really?
Yeah.
Amazing. It's that clear.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
No, but it proves that somebody was interested enough to doctor this film as well.
Ah, okay.
Paul, might it be better to forget all this?
No.
Hang on a minute. Only a few minutes ago, she was saying, "You murdered my brother."
Yeah.
And now it's,
Let's
"Shall we just
forget all about it,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's fine.
I've got another
I've moved
brother.
on.
Yeah.
I'll go and get those back issue papers you wanted.
Oh, that's kind. And a cup of coffee, please.
I thought she was going to offer coffee, yes.
I like his jacket.
Yeah, some wonderful fashions in this.
Right, now she's out the room, I can show the really interesting slides.
Yeah. Look at that.
My holiday pictures to Mauritius.
Wait, because presumably he's got these. He's had to have these developed on slides.
I would guess so.
he
Yes,
got it out of the
right.
safe. Yeah.
And several days might have passed if you went to Boots.
Thug delivery.
Hang on, that's me at the back there with the sunglasses.
Yes. And obviously I love Barry Gray, but at moments like this, I kind of think he's composing for a slightly different show in terms of the tone. I think as we said last week.
Yeah.
This groovy, funky.
Yes.
It doesn't quite fit the whole
I quite
government
like it,
conspiracy.
though.
Oh, I love this as a piece of music.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's quite right for this.
I think it works
show.
for the chase music in
It
a
works
later
for chase
episode
music,
when
yes.
he's running away
Yeah.
from the shadow guards
As court-martial,
in the
yes.
court. Yes, but in a scene which
Lying
is
on
them
the
sort of
floor.
just leisurely
Yeah.
destroying an apartment. It's
Get rid of these books.
Not the books. There I go.
There.
Job well done.
Well.
He's knocked out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Groovy stuff. Now this footage, I'm going to get super nerdy. That was not shot for UFO.
Right.
It was not.
Right.
I know you can't believe it.
Wow. Or I'm interested. But go
it
on.
was shot for an episode, I believe, of Department S.
Was it?
So there we go. Now you know.
How interesting. They share footage like that.
Yes.
I find that fascinating.
Why not? Yeah. And Foster's flat, this set, they come back to this a few times in the series. It does stay consistent.
Uh-huh.
It's like Del Boy's flat now, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Cushy.
I don't know, but that's
What
still
the?
standing.
That's a bit suspicious, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel great.
Who did this?
Well, one of them was named Greg, and the other one was named Brad. They left me their
Richard.
names in the address.
Yes. It's a bit like
Yeah,
Richard
Richard,
James.
yeah.
I'll get you a drink.
Oh, coffee if you've got it.
Or maybe an ambulance?
Yeah. Something a bit
got
more useful.
internal bleeding. Ah, now that, again with the nerdy, but we covered it on a Fab Fact not too long ago. That newspaper prop turned up in other productions as
Right,
well.
yeah.
Still with the same headlines, but
Right.
with the photo of Ed Bishop taken out.
Of course.
What is it, Paul?
Straker. Ed Straker.
Paul Foster.
Never heard of him.
No, I don't think I want to speak to him now. Tell him to...
It is also interesting to see Straker, because Straker and Foster's relationship was so much, I think, the heart of the series by the end. They were like, it was almost like Foster was kind of becoming Straker's sort of like
Protege.
Straker 2, yeah, protege.
Yeah.
I want to say son, but that's not quite right. And you hear it's like, I don't know, who is he?
Yes.
Don't care.
Yes.
He can die for all I
Right.
care.
That
The later
was-
episodes, he can't even imagine life without Foster.
Yeah.
Yes.
Seen Paul Foster in an hour.
How much does he know?
That's what I aim to find out.
That's why I'm taking the gun. Right. Not taking the softly approach.
Oh,
then.
no. That's not the Straker way. Oh, dear. Whereas Alec would just sit him down and say, "Look, listen, it's all right. This is what we're doing.
Yeah,
You want
that's
to come
right.
in and, you know...
Yeah.
And I like the good cop, bad
Yes.
cop
Yes.
thing of those two.
Good afternoon.
My name's Foster.
Ah, yes, to see Mr. Straker.
Now, if I was Miss Eland, I would be so worried always about accidentally calling him Commander Straker. Because obviously she knows that's what he is.
That's right.
But
Or
she,
leaning on a button and
Yeah.
sending them down to Shadow.
Rupert Square.
Rupert Square, is he a new character?
so we're on the back lot.
Yeah. Probably
Barry
now
Grace
the
had
East
to
End
do
is
a
set.
lot of music for just sort of Foster wandering around with no real plan.
Yeah, it's a more ponderous episode actually than I remember
Yeah,
it.
but then you get something like
But
that,
then-
and it's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
it's all worth it.
You must be Foster. I'm Straker.
So
Ed
hang-
Straker.
What was the point of the gun there? Foster never saw that gun. It was pointed at the back of his head, and by the time he turns
Yeah,
around,
just
the gun's
to-
gone.
Just to throw him off.
So imagine if we'd had the reveal of Straker at this point in the story, this
Yes.
late on, I think it would
Yeah,
have
and
been
if you
a
heard
really
the
interesting.
name, you saw the photos, but you didn't see him until
Ah,
this
yes.
point, yeah.
That thing real?
Well, hold still, let's find out.
What can I shoot? That a wall?
Excuse me.
Now, this guy is one of, I suppose, relatively few actors who has been in New Doctor Who and Old Doctor Who.
Oh, yes.
Richard, do you recognise him?
Let's have a close-up.
His name is Arthur Cox.
It's gonna be fine, Louis. You can go ahead.
Right, thanks, Mr. Straker. We'll start building right away.
Just check with me.
I don't recognise
No,
him.
he was Cully in The Dominators.
Right.
So he was running around in a miniskirt in the quarry.
I didn't recognise him with his clothes
And
on.
then I think he was in Matt Smith's first episode as well. Yeah.
Well, what's on your mind, Mr. Foster?
Unidentified flying objects.
Oh, good subject. You got a script?
No. I really mean it. I saw one.
Now, why don't you tell me all about it then?
He's not questioning why Straker has a gun at all. The supposed, head of a studio.
Well, the fact that everyone else around him is behaving as though that's normal, again, it's meant to throw him off, I think.
He's still with Foster, sir.
Thanks.
Well, he can't have shot him yet.
Very good story, Mr. Foster. When I'm in the film business, I suggest you tell that story to the...
That's why I carry a gun.
The Army, the Marines.
And this amazing line of film executive clothing that I'm modelling.
Force Colonel to film executive.
Oh, that struck a nerve.
You must have your wires crossed somewhere.
Have I?
Would you sign this for me?
Captain Blue.
Mr. Foster, let's step into my office.
So I can kill you?
Yes.
Longest job interview process ever.
You've got it.
That's weird, isn't it?
Oh, it's too big.
Oh, I don't know.
Sparsely furnished.
Sparsely?
Sparsely.
Not sparsely.
It won't be disturbed. Oh, it's soundproof, too.
So you can scream like a little girl.
Look, 10 years ago, you were a colonel in the Air Force, a degree in astrophysics, 2 years lunar research at MIT, a career officer. What happened?
Well, let's say the car crash made me want to change my career.
Why did it crash?
We had a blowout.
On a Rolls Royce at 50 miles an hour.
They don't make the tires.
Then why was the whole area cordoned off?
Well, you've obviously read the report. A British cabinet minister was killed. Security.
I don't buy it, Straker.
Look, I'm not trying to sell you anything, boy.
Oh,
wow.
Firmly putting him in his place.
Look, sir. I've been through a lot these last few weeks. First there was Koufax. I found a letter to you in his safe. Oh.
Right, I'm going to fan you to death.
No!
From the military investigation team.
Why doesn't he just move out the way of the fan?
Well, it's more dramatic like this, isn't it?
The film that cost my co-pilot is...
It's just lucky for Straker that Foster happened to walk towards the fan and, and stand there.
Those two bright boys who came to my apartment and bust the place up.
Do you know how long it took for me to put those books back?
Where's your evidence, Foster? Just show me one thing. Just one. What you're saying is that Foster's right and everyone else is wrong.
What I'm saying is that I'm right.
Oh, you're wrong, Foster. You're so wrong.
Look, I don't give up. I keep slinging the mud until some of it sticks.
Now I'm going to move.
Yeah.
You have never laughed at this, Mr. Film Executive Straker.
Oh, so the fan didn't work. What next?
Maybe it's
back
to the old gun. And Ed Bishop is so good at looking so dispassionate and cold in this.
Yeah, they were really onto something with him in that role.
I think as well the fact that they let him bring what he wanted to it.
Yeah.
Because other shows I don't think would have trusted their lead actor to have as much input as Ed did with this.
Yeah, yeah.
They very much wanted to keep him just behind the desk issuing the orders, and Ed kept pushing for more interesting
Things are not always what they seem, Mr. Foster.
Oh?
It's like that Jackson said.
An acoustic gun.
Acoustic, yeah.
Place charges in the wall of a set, for example. Load the gun with blanks, and when you fire it, the sound detonates the charges.
Clever.
I'll use it in a later episode and threaten to blow a woman's eardrums out.
Right, but that's not important right
That's
now.
another story.
Let's go.
He's having a weird day, isn't he?
It's a very weird
Paul
day,
Foster.
but he's got the job.
Wow.
The military marches work in this show. I think that is one good bit of music in this. Well, it's all good, but fitting.
It's all right, Miss Healan.
I like the idea of Miss Eland, the role she fulfills here, and sort of this almost like the guardian at the gates, of who gets to enter Shadow and who doesn't, and she's a nice character.
So, you're a test pilot.
That's right.
Trained to expect the unexpected.
I guess so.
How'd you like these apples?
Yeah.
Brace yourself.
Yes. Cigarette.
Voice identification positive. Commander Straker.
Jeremy Wilkin picking up some more voiceover work there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So clever.
Now, will the lady be sitting in the chair waiting to greet the men, like she was last time?
Oh, I do hope so.
That's a very important... There she is!
Good evening.
She sits there all day waiting for someone to come down in that
I guess
elevator.
she's security, isn't she?
Well, you would hope she has some function.
For when New Zealand accidentally sends
Yes.
unsuspecting
Back you
writers
go.
and directors
Yes.
down to Shadow.
And then we get a nice guide to what's available.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to sitting down again.
I think you're right. This would have made a great second pilot.
Yeah,
It'd
if
been a
this
very
was the
brave
first time
introduction.
you saw this world.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's that weird car thing again.
Yeah.
What is
Mind
that
your
for?
backs.
Because it can go marginally faster than walking speed.
Yes.
We need
So
that
it's
here.
worth having.
We do. Yeah, you could almost imagine if this were like a two-parter. You have this discovery, the reveal at the end, and this is the first time we see Shadow, and then
Yes.
part two is sort of starting his training, and then
Them springing into action
yeah,
against it.
yeah,
Yeah.
essentially.
Okay, Alec. Wheel them in.
So what happens now?
You were on a test flight over the North Atlantic, Foster. Due to a kind of dogged stupidity, you found yourself in the middle of a UFO incident. Well, this is Colonel Freeman. Dr. Fraser, you already know.
Hello, Foster. How are the eyes?
We induced a temporary blindness, just to keep you on ice for a few days.
Nice, thank you.
Yes.
Now, your boss, Koufax, knows nothing of all this, but he played along. He has his military contract to think of. Operatives Doug Jackson and Cy Chan. Jackson's a psychiatrist as well as a trained interrogator.
Yes. Jackson is whatever the plot needs him to be.
Chef.
Sometimes
Gardener.
he's a doctor, sometimes he's...
And we don't mind it.
We don't mind
We love it.
because it's just Vladik doing whatever.
Louis Graham, electronics man.
And he looks good in a miniskirt as well. You watch Doctor Who to see that.
I like all the little poses they're doing. It's
Yes.
like, this guy.
Wrapped up in the start.
But it's almost like there's almost the feel of like a game show.
Yes.
Kind
Yeah.
of,
Why this secrecy?
this is your life or something.
Yeah.
You summed it up pretty well yourself.
I'll give you a reason. Let's say the authorities had proof, indisputable proof that UFOs had come to Earth.
Yeah.
What would be the result if it leaked out? Mass hysteria, terror, a breakdown of authority.
I said that in the apartment.
So, they issue a report.
That's just volume 1 of the complete Paul Foster on cassette.
Hang on, everyone's in on it.
Everyone's in Shadow,
Dun, dun, dun.
except Paul Foster.
Oh, what on earth?
Project Foster. Operative Jana Wade.
You murdered my brother.
As well.
Foster. You followed a predictable set of clues. You even showed a certain initiative.
I'll give you that.
But basically, it was an inevitable chain that led you to the studio. Thank you.
Some of you will be in later episodes. Most of you will never see again.
Now stay, Alec.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh. Oh no, not the gun again.
You realize, of course, that we can never let you go free.
Would you like a drink?
You know too much.
He's been entrapped,
Yes,
essentially,
that's right.
into working for them.
Shadow needs men.
Yeah, I love the way they don't say the alternative is, but it's absolutely
implied.
blatant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the forgetful thing that comes later. You know, they
The
wipe
amnesia
people's amnesia
drug,
thing.
yeah.
Why didn't they just do that to him?
I don't know, it could do.
Were they scoping him out from the start?
Well, he's a fine, wonderful man, and yes, they need those men.
Drink course that will tear your guts out. You might be halfway there.
After we up your cigarette intake to at least 60 or even 80 a day.
4 cups of coffee after every meal.
3 whiskeys an hour.
Paul J.
Oh.
804.
I get a badge and everything.
Yeah, this
I'm
is
in.
cool.
Striker.
What's your work from home policy?
Yes, we built your apartment set. We may as well get you to use it.
What I asked for.
So why did he have to stay in the room exactly?
Well, because they'll kill him if he doesn't. It's a happy note to end on. He's been...
George Sewell was literally left hanging around just to see him out the door. Oh,
Yeah.
don't go.
Which is unfortunately a side effect of introducing the Foster character, and he gets so much more to do, and Sewell often is just standing there like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
So there we are, part 2 of Exposed from UFO.
Yes.
Now, I enjoyed that. What was interesting was seeing Shadow from the outside.
Yes.
That was quite nice.
Yeah.
But I think I agree with you, Chris. It would have been great if they'd left the Straker reveal, until much later.
Yeah.
So we were following Foster on his journey
Yes.
without the little interruptions.
We could have even had the beginning of the episode as sort of flashbacks near the end
Yes.
saying, this is what happened. We launched our interceptors.
That's
we have
right.
interceptors, and then so
yes.
on. And,
Straker doing a kind of breakdown of everything that happened. Yeah,
in
that's
future episodes, you will see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like that one. It's much stronger as an opening episode than the opening episode, oddly.
It's quite taut in various
Yeah.
places, isn't it? Great performances.
Nice action, yeah.
Right, so it's that time where we give our marks out of 5. Chris?
It's a solid 3.5 for me. I know there's better stuff later in the run.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the 5th episode made. It's pretty darn strong. Great character stuff all the way.
Yeah.
And I just prefer this as an introduction to the first episode.
For all those reasons, I'm going to give it 4. Ross?
Ooh.
I think I'm going to join you on 4.
Wow.
Because it's a good episode, and I think because it has so much potential, I think that I'm still going to give it that a slightly higher score.
Okay.
There was so much there to
And
enjoy.
certainly a great place to start if you've never seen UFO,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's a great introductory
We were
episode,
saying
as we were
during a
saying.
break, if I was going to get someone introduced to UFO, I wouldn't go for the first episode. I would go for that.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly right.
So that's 11.5 out of 15.
Podsterons, let us know what you think about Exposed from UFO. I know you'll comment below, as people do in the comments, and we might even read them out next time. But for now, that's it for this week.
Yeah,
Thank you for
amazing.
joining us. Come back again next week, won't you? When we'll have another guest in the interview chair. We'll have another episode from the Randomiser, more newsy news, and, of course, emails from our Podsterons.
And more of him.
I suppose we could do that as well. See you next week.
Bye.
Let's get started. Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
So, Mr. Aerosmith, you wanted to join the podcast. You know that we can never let you go free. You know too much.
I've watched enough podcasts from that sofa.
He's got a point.
He has got a point, yeah.
You're
I mean, watched, technically. He's been in the room.
Yeah.
Do I get a badge?
You can go and get us some coffee.
Very well.
That was an Anderson Entertainment production.